The wrestling world never stops, and neither do we. This is episode 377 of The Burning Truth. Hey, it's Scott Barrett, and you're back with The Burning Truth. And I'm here again with the man of the moment. His mustache is looking extra special tonight. It's Matt Burns, everybody.
I've added the beard. I've added the beard oils.
Is that what you're doing, oils?
Yeah, I've added it on.
How are you, Matt? You having a good week?
It's not too bad. Steady.
Steady? Yeah?
Yeah, it's a steady start.
Steady start. That's what it's all about, mate. Steady starts, finish strong. What is going on in the world of wrestling, Matt Burns? Anything you're really excited for, or?
Well, we supposedly got loads of wrestling this weekend, if I'm not mistaken.
It's coming up, mate, isn't it? So if I'm not mistaken, we've got a Ring of Honor pay-per-view.
Yep.
We've got All In at the stadium.
Yep.
We've got Saturday night's main event, Goldberg and Gunter.
Yep.
We've got NXT Great American Bash.
Yep.
And we've got Evolution 2.
Yep. And
we've got a TNA pay-per-view as well coming up.
I
or is
believe
that just a special this week?
I can't remember. That might be a special this week. That might be a special this week. But also, we've even got some local wrestling because I think I'm at TTW this weekend as well.
Where are they based, Matt Burns?
That is, bear with me for a minute. I'm just trying to remember off the top of me.
Well, you've got to drive there, so you better tell us. Oh, there you go. Slammiversary is the week after. So we've got a TNA pay-per-view coming as well. I think we might have lost Matt Burns here, everyone, which is okay. We don't mind that. While we wait for him to come back, why don't we get into a segment that I like to call The News? He's back. You got kicked out, Matt Burns, so we played the graphic for the news.
Don't blame you. Don't blame you, because there is plenty of news that's been coming out, and there is one piece of information that I thought was a bit interesting.
Okay,
let's hear it. All of the most recent shows. Well, by the way, for TTW, it's Purton.
I don't know if that was you or me, Matt Burns, but I didn't catch a word of that.
TTW,
yes,
is at Purton.
Oh, Purton. Okay, lovely part of the UK.
Yeah, I'd say part of the Black Country area, Birmingham way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're our friends at Black Country Radio doing that wrestling show. Friends of the channel. Lovely guys, actually. If you get a chance to catch their stuff, you can catch it on the Black Country Radio on demand section. Yeah, Black Country on demand extra.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you can find them there. So, yeah, good show coming up there, Matt Burns. What have we got in this week's global news, though?
Well, out of most of the shows that we've been seeing, we've had a lot of people bragging rights, saying that AEW has got the most tickets sold and everything.
Yeah.
Do you know about this?
I don't know. I haven't seen any of the news this week, so this is all new information to me.
Now, what's shocking is it has got the most, but it's got the biggest venue. And this is like their WrestleMania. It's supposedly, and this is only supposedly because ticket sales can change at any time. Currently, supposedly, AEW has actually sold more tickets than Saturday Night Live.
Main event.
Yeah. Main event, that's it. Main event, NXT Great American Bash, and Evolution combined.
Well, I'm not surprised. They're in a stadium.
Yeah. However, out of the 3 WWE ones, which one do you think's suffering the most?
Well, it's early on the Sunday. Is AEW All In on the Sunday or the Saturday?
Saturday.
The Saturday. So I would say that Saturday night's main event.
No, actually, it might be the Sunday. Actually, I'll just confirm that for you now.
That'd be important to the story. But off the top of my head, I would say probably Saturday night's main event is struggling the most for it.
Nope.
No.
Nope. Oh, All In is Saturday. The one that's struggling the most? Evolution.
On the Sunday, which makes sense, I suppose. So you're saying All In's on the Sunday?
No, All In's on the Saturday.
Oh, right, but Evolution's struggling the most. Do you know what, though? I half understand why Evolution would struggle anyway for sales, because you're not going to see John Cena. You're not going to see Randy Orton. You're not going to see Cody Rhodes. You're not going to see Jey Uso. Like, you're not going to see Roman Reigns. It's a very different show. And so the majority of the characters that are featured on Raw and SmackDown every week won't be there because it's a women's only show. It's a niche show. And do you know what I think? The problem with having Evolution the same weekend as the Saturday night's main event is that if you had to pick between them, right? So this is my money, and I'm going to pick between those two shows. I'm going to buy tickets to Saturday night's main event before I buy tickets to Evolution. And I know that might be hard to hear and might upset people, but genuinely, do I want to watch Goldberg versus Gunther, or do I want to watch Lyra Valkyria versus Bayley? I've made my decision.
However, because they've had so many events next to each other, they've actually hurt themselves on top of it.
Yeah.
Because they've got the Saturday night main event and Great American Bash on the same night.
Yeah. Well, they moved Great American Bash earlier, haven't they?
They have, but it's at different venues. Now, for what they're charging, ticket-wise, people are now having to decide whether do they want to go to the Great American Bash or go to Saturday Night Live, like you just said.
Yeah.
And it's dividing their own fans.
That is difficult. But also, if they're in different venues or in different places, you might find the people who want to do more than one. You might find the people that don't.
They're down the road.
Yeah, you might find the people who don't want to do both, though, because actually there has been a decent amount of NXT pay-per-views in the day. And then, like, I always think about WrestleMania and the old takeover before Mania Saturday. They always used to do that earlier on in the day, and that always used to be fine. I think they've been doing it with the Rumble for the last few years as well. So, I'd probably throw a flag on that it's hurting them.
I'm just checking on ticket sales for Evolution 2 right now.
Yeah.
Quickly, which is all events. They've supposedly managed to now officially shifted 4,804 tickets. Right. Now, the question with that is what they're not telling you is which ones are bought and which ones are given away.
Yeah, because there'll be a certain amount that are always like that. Do you know what I'm interested in, though? Like, I know we're talking about WWE having a bad time for tickets this weekend, but actually, I'm going to throw a flag on AEW. How big is the venue? How many seats does it hold? And how many tickets have they actually sold? Because they inflated the number for Wembley the second year, didn't they? They can say what they want about WWE doing that, but AEW are just as guilty in my mind.
It's past 20,000 tickets.
20,000? How many does it hold? It'll hold 60,000, I'm sure, at least.
I'm just trying to look at the venue. I'm just trying to find the actual venue now.
It's the Texas. It's Globe Life Field, isn't it, in Arlington, Texas?
I'll know shortly. I will know shortly.
Capacity 40,000. So they've only half filled it, is what you're telling me.
Globe Life Field. Capacity is 40,000. Yeah.
But that's capacity for a baseball game when there's nobody on the field.
Yeah.
This is like concert. Yeah. So I mean,
this is what I was trying to state at the beginning with all three of them WWE ones. They're not doing it in a big stadium.
Yeah, that's it.
It's a different venue, different culture, different size.
I still think AEW running this stadium was a bad idea in the US. I understand that they want to try and grow and do things, but I just think if the product isn't there on TV each and every week, why would you try and run a stadium?
It's still good numbers by their standards. It's still better than what they've done at other places.
Yeah, but we talk offline constantly about AEW creative and AEW story and momentum. We just haven't got it, have they?
No. But what goes against them, like, and this is where I think you're heading your direction. What looks better? A filled out full place or places with seats empty?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's just, it feels like we've tried to have an event weekend for both sides, AEW and WWE, and neither have done a fantastic job of getting butts in seats at this point.
I think it would have been fine if there was just one event for WWE. I just feel as though they've overbooked that entire weekend.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. I think they just tried to keep eyes off AEW by producing so much content, haven't they? But I mean,
true.
You've got to remember, Matt, you've got to remember, we're only 3 weeks from SummerSlam. By the time this event happens this weekend, we're 2 weeks from SummerSlam as well. Like, and that's another 2-night affair. Like, there's so much wrestling going on at the minute. I'm just going to stop, take a breath, and say, actually, how incredible is it to be a wrestling fan in 2025?
Oh, yeah.
We're moaning and we're analysing, but actually, how good is it?
The weird thing about it is, we're only just talking about, oddly enough, just AEW and WWE. We've never even taken into consideration TNA, ROH, and many other independent circuits and everything, because there's so much going on.
Brilliant. What a time to be alive. Any other news, Matt Baines?
Ooh. Have you been watching some of the Cody Rhodes podcast?
I've watched odd bits. I must admit I haven't watched lots of it.
I do recommend you checking out the Kevin Owens one.
Yeah, I've seen a clip of this, and it was a clip about Matt Cardona that made me chuckle to myself. But you'd have to find it online if you want to watch it. It is good. It is a good watch. But have you seen other bits that you want to talk about? Or
there is other bits on there. How Cody even points out that you've got Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, who are best mates, but absolute polar opposites.
Yeah,
with each other.
Totally.
No, with each other in the ring, because it's like Kevin Owens. He just gets ready. He's out there, nonchalant. He's ready for his match. And you've got Sammy, who's planning that much. Supposedly, it's like change this, as his music's playing. As his music's playing, and what made it even more funny is you even see during the interview, Kevin Owens just goes, "Can we pull the curtain back this far?" Sort of. And just to say, am I going to get fired for this?
Now, I've got another piece of news if you're interested, Matt Baines.
Go.
There's a WWE wrestler who hasn't wrestled on WWE TV since April of last year. Has been a star in Pro Wrestling Noah and has now been recalled and has surprised many that he signed a new contract with the WWE. Any guesses?
Go on.
So even though he hasn't been featured and he's on the sidelines again right now, Omos's contract has recently been extended. How do we feel about that?
Indifferent.
It's a head scratcher, right?
Indifferent, because have you actually seen the interview he's done with Chris Van Vliet?
I've seen the Chris Van Vliet interview, yeah.
And make it so scary. Let's just do a handshake. Hand disappears.
Yeah, he's massive, and absolute unit. What do we think about this, though? Really, I mean, I think about the superstars that have been released this year. You know, and if we think specifically about somebody like, let me have a think. Isla Dawn, Nixon Newell, who really had so much more to give, and yet Omos has had his contract renewed or extended.
He must be doing something in the back, or behind the scenes, that's actually contributing to wanting him to be around.
I mean, he'd make a good hat rack, right?
The weird thing about it is, and he might not be the most athletically gifted. Would you agree?
Yeah, but I also think, what a specimen and what an attraction.
There you go. You've just hit the nail on the head.
Is that what you think it is?
He's a unique commodity. Right now, Big Show is on AEW, but what's he doing?
I don't know.
Anybody?
Tell me. No, that's it, isn't it?
That's the problem. We don't know what he's doing. We don't know whether he's coming, whether he's being Captain Insano, whether he's going and doing an advert. We don't know. And that's a bit of the problem. Whereas, have you got any real big men at this moment in time in WWE?
Not outside of the medium big guys like Jacob Fatu, Bronson Reed.
I'd say probably Rowan, maybe.
Is he that big? I don't think he's not Braun Strowman big, is he?
He's not Braun Strowman big. Now, Braun
we haven't
Strowman,
got any giants right now, have we?
There's your answer.
Maybe.
He fits an area. He fills a gap. So that might be why he's still got his contract. Plus, at the same time, while he's also doing bits with Wrestling Nowhere, he's still getting his name out there.
Yeah, well, he's finished his bit of Wrestling Nowhere now, but interesting. All right, let's move on. Let's keep this train on the tracks, Matt Burns. Britt Baker, staying or going? Let's talk about this. Is she sticking around, or is WWE making a play for DMD? Here's what sparked it all. Former WWE personality John Coachman went on his podcast and claimed that Britt was on her way out of AEW and heading straight for WWE. That naturally set the internet on fire. Is it true? Well, according to Fightful Select, not so much. Sources within AEW were very quick to shut that talk down. Britt signed a 5-year deal back in 2021, which means she's locked into at least 2026, maybe even longer if they factor in her injury time. So, no. Has she asked for a release? Apparently not. She's not packing her bags just yet. But here's where it gets interesting. People backstage in AEW are split. Some believe she's coming back soon. Others think she's as good as gone. There's no official word from Britt herself, but she's been absent now since September of 2024, and that's a long time for one of AEW's biggest stars. And then, classic Britt drops a cryptic Instagram story that says value changes by location, and that sent fans into full-on detective mode, and some said it was a bit of a jab at AEW. Others think it's just personal reflection. Either way, it's keeping people guessing. So we've got All in Texas coming up. There's a buzz she might return in some surprise fashion there. Maybe even the Casino Gauntlet match. But again, no confirmation yet. We've also got Evolution this week. If she had been released, would she be looking to debut in WWE at something like Evolution? Well, no. According to reports, for now, Britt Baker is still all elite, but the silence, the Instagram posts, the locker room whispers, they've got fans thinking something big's coming. Matt Burns, what do you think?
Is this a ploy? Is this just a ploy just to to gain traction? Is this something that is just to try to get people interested in what's going on? You know, the old saying, where there's smoke, there's supposedly fire. Doesn't always mean that there is fire there.
Maybe there's a smoke machine.
Maybe just a smoke machine, just to some smoke and mirrors.
Oh, fantastic! Well done, Matt Burns. Well done. What else do we want to talk about? Major title match at Evolution was a last-minute decision, says this article from TJR Wrestling. You can find their stuff online. Apparently, Trish Stratus and Tiffany Stratton was a last-minute decision to put together for the card. How do we feel about this one?
I'm fine with it.
It's Trishy time.
I'm perfectly fine with it because I feel as though they are teasing, is this going to be a comeback or something? But it might not be. But still, it's still paying homage to the past. And is this a way to even possibly turn Tiffany Stratton?
I think, I'm going to throw a flag there. I think actually this is a passing of the torch moment.
Yeah.
We're going to really put Tiffy over with Trish. And I think that's going to be a really nice moment, tell the truth.
Yeah.
But listen, if Britt Baker appears and beats up Trish and Tiffy Stratton, you heard it here first, right? It's doubtful, but it's possible. Any other news from you, Matt Burns?
Well, there's also Naomi and Jade are on the card as well.
Yeah, and it's interesting, because some would say that WWE are setting Jade Cargill up for a fail.
Yeah, but potentially, and I feel as though we're going to have a female heart of the century with Naomi. I feel just when Jade's about to get the win, Naomi's going to come in, blast the one, cash in.
Well, I think it's fair to say, Matt Burns, we'll be back later in the week with our predictions for Evolution 2, won't we? And
potentially,
yeah. We can talk all things predictions then. But yes,
by the way,
I agree. A cash-in is on the books.
I'm just going to say this to you. That was not my prediction. Just for the record.
No.
I'm not locking that in.
Don't lock it in. Don't lock it in. Wait for the predictions episode. And of course, you can find all our predictions on our channel. All you have to do is subscribe. It's free to subscribe. Please help us get to 1,000 subscribers. We love doing this, and we would love it even more if, like I say, you would subscribe, like the video, and do all the good stuff. We'll love you forever. Absolutely ever. Again, it's free to subscribe. Please do it. Hit the button. Share with your friends. Matt, I think it's time that we take an opportunity to go and figure out the top three.
Always fun. It's always fun. But anyway, we're here. It's now time for the top three. The top three. The top three. I haven't done that in a while.
No. When we used to just audio record this in your house for the podcast at the RSS feed, and now here we are live and in living color on YouTube each and every week.
And just think, we even used to do a bit of AMSR top three.
Yeah, all right. Right, how does the top three work, Matt Burns?
Simple. We each challenge each other to pick the top three of a subject that we grant to each other. And I believe this week is me challenging you to pick your top three.
Is it my turn? Oh, I forgot it was my turn. This is going to be off the cuff then, because I can't even remember what we said I was top three.
Ooh, you don't remember?
Nope. I'm totally blindsided.
I'm going to challenge you.
Okay.
for the top 3 pay-per-view or PLE names that WWE no longer uses.
So this is about extinct WWE pay-per-views.
Yes.
Okay, I like this. This is a good idea, Matt Burns. And I do remember it now you've said it, which is good. And I suppose my top, this is going to be a very personal top 3. So these are my favorites. And in no way do they represent probably the best 3 ever. There are probably lots more good ones that I haven't put in here. Honorable mention for Insurrection, the UK only pay-per-view. Honorable mention for One Night Stand, and One Night Only as well. So some honorable mentions there, and you all know why these are what they are. My number 3, Matt Burns, for extinct pay-per-views is gonna be Unforgiven.
Oh,
quietly delivered some bangers, this did, including a fabulous Brock Lesnar Undertaker match in 2003, I want to say.
I believe that would be
2003.
I think Brock met the sign, didn't he?
He did. He went through the Unforgiven sign. And actually, I think if I'm right, Unforgiven ran for about 10 years. I think the last one was around 2009, 2008.
Yeah.
But we had the first Inferno match at an Unforgiven, Taker and Kane. We had a brilliant triple threat match in the year 2000 with Triple H and Kurt Angle. And if you remember right, and The Rock, and if you remember rightly, that was all through when Triple H and Kurt Angle were kind of fighting over Stephanie.
Yes.
I also think that might be the one where Kurt Angle gets concussed in the match.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. But still a quality triple threat. And he doesn't know what to do because he's concussed. And Stephanie McMahon's just shouting stuff at him. And he's just doing exactly what she says really well because he's Kurt Angle, which I think is just a brilliant story. Like, he's even concussed, he's better than you. Just thinking of what else we had. I think there was a couple of Cena Edge matches, maybe a TLC at Unforgiven. And an Undertaker feud with Mark Henry, I think, started at Unforgiven as well. So loads of good stuff. A gritty mid-year pay-per-view. And it was always like it was like Backlash for SummerSlam is how I always remember Unforgiven. It was like Backlash for SummerSlam. So I really enjoyed that. It lost its place when they went for match type pay-per-view names. Elimination Chamber, Hell in a Cell, Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
That's when it lost its way. But I mean, for me, number 3, Unforgiven, quality. Number 2, this is my controversial one, Matt Burns. In fact, 2 and 1 might be controversial. Number 2 is Taboo Tuesday / Cyber Sunday. I'm going to put them both in together.
I'm fine with that. I'm fine. No, I will allow that simply because it was the same thing. It's an altered name.
Yeah,
but I'll allow it because essentially it was just they moved the day,
didn't they? Yeah, they moved the day. So I like the voting for match types. I also like that at least in the beginning they were absolutely mad enough to go with the actual vote in real time, which is how Edge got screwed out of a WWE World Heavyweight title, which I absolutely love. Genuinely interactive, way ahead of its time. I think if we did it today, it'd be even better. Everyone's got a smartphone in their hand. But we got the rematch from WrestleMania between HBK, Triple H, and Chris Benoit in 2004. I think we got a Jericho versus Batista match as well, where Stone Cold was the ref at one of the Cyber Sundays. Epic.
Yeah.
So for me, I think that for me, the reason it gets in, it isn't so much the moments, but the concept. I really like the concept for this.
If I'm not mistaken, that pay-per-view also led to I believe it was the oldest tag team to win the tag team championships.
Yes, Roddy Piper and Ric Flair. Yeah, quality. And my number 1, Matt Burns, if you're ready for it. And again, controversial, I would say, for extinct pay-per-view names. Probably controversial as an extinct one because we only ever got one of these events. It's the Invasion. Again, a one-time mega event during the invasion angle right at the start when it still could have been so much more. At the time, it was the biggest ever non-WrestleMania buy rate for a pay-per-view, 775,000 buys. Unbelievable. Main event was WWF versus the Alliance, where Austin turns on the WWF. It was once in a lifetime feel. I just think, again, the whole concept was phenomenal. Iconic. You know, I still fantasize about what could have been if more WCW stars were involved.
The weird thing about it is Invasion could have been reused again later for when NXT got involved.
Yeah, absolutely. NXT, when they bought the ECW brand back, they could have done it again. There was so many opportunities. They could have done, after One Night Stand 2, they could have done an Invasion.
Yeah.
But they launched a brand instead, which is fine. You know, they did what they did. So for me, yeah, number 3, Unforgiven. Number 2, Taboo Tuesday, Cyber Sunday. And number 1, that one and only Invasion pay-per-view. What do you think, Matt Burns? That's my top 3.
That's a good pick, but can I make one suggestion? And I'm surprised it wasn't even in your top 3.
I know where you're going.
Where do you think I'm going?
I'm going to wait for you to say it. Go on.
It's one that has a song that always plays for this one event. And
the end is near.
It always stuck in my head. Armageddon.
Yeah, the 6-man Hell in a Cell. The most ridiculous setup for a cage dive ever, where Rikishi falls into the sawdust truck.
Interesting fact, he was the second person to do that.
Yeah, I believe it. Because
do you know who was first?
Vince McMahon wants to do everything first. No.
Like father, like son. Shane.
Oh, Shane had to go. Right, okay.
He did it.
Nutter. So yeah, he loves jumping off things. But yeah, Armageddon, quality mention for a pay-per-view. But not my pick today, Matt Burns. Not my pick. You'll have to save that for one of your picks. Sorry, put my phone on silent.
No, perfectly fine.
But it's time now that we go to our reading nook, because it's time for a segment that I like to call Rebook This. Yeah, so Rebook This is a segment where one of us challenges the other, just like we did in the top 3. I'm going to challenge Matt Burns today, and the challenge is, Matt Burns, rebook Billy Gunn's 1999. There he is with his pen, Mr. Booker Man. And the reason we do this is because we're smart asses and we think we can do it better. So, Matt Burns, today I challenged you to try and rebook Billy Gunn's 1999. And the inspiration for this is because we've been doing our 1999 watch-alongs on the channel, which you can go back and find in the archive, especially if you hit that subscribe button. It's free to do. Help us get to 1,000 subscribers and turn the notification bell on. But we watched St. Valentine's Day Massacre. We watched WrestleMania 15, Backlash, Over the Edge, and now King of the Ring. And we're seeing the ascent of Billy Gunn. But we know that in the next pay-per-view or so that we're going to watch, it all falls apart, Matt Burns. And the question is, how would you do it better?
Well, for me, I feel as though for 1999, all the way up to the King of the Ring is where it should be starting. The pinnacle, it's like the King of the Ring has always been a great event to set up the springboard for future champions. And it was such a shame that in the original booking, it ended up being a flop. Because I feel as though they didn't exactly let him run with his initial victory from there, because he got the win, but then he then entered a feud with the Generation X over the rights, if I'm not mistaken. Really? if he's going to be Mr. Ass, why would he be fighting for the rights for it with China, by the way? Which that makes me wonder: is he with the corporation and everything? No, I feel as though he should be away from Generation X. He's done with them. He's moving on, and the whole rights for the Generation X name, that should have been between Triple H, China, X-Pac, and Road Dogg. As much as at Fully Loaded, we know that Triple H was, much higher on the card, because I believe at that Fully Loaded, he was. I'm just trying to remember who he was against. Who he was against? He was in the to determine the number one contendership against The Rock. Now, for me, I would have just removed Triple H and put him into the tag match, and then put Billy Gunn in the strap match against The Rock, and had him win it. Because then, as much as Triple H needed to have some of his rise right there and then, I feel as though it needed to be Billy Gunn instead to be the focal point. Because Triple H he is coming up, but you've just had the King of the Ring winner be Billy Gunn. And during this time, the number one contendership wasn't straight away given to you at King of the Ring. I believe that was much, much later on. Now, from there, I would have had Billy.
That didn't kick in until 2002 with Brock Lesnar, can you believe?
I know, it's just weird, isn't it? So I would have had immediately Billy Gunn beating The Rock, with assistance, of course, in the Fully Loaded strap match. I would have completely avoided the whole shebang with the Kiss My Ass match. And instead, after he's won that number one contendership, I would have had The Rock against Triple H at SummerSlam, and would have fitted, and let's try and look into it, I would have fitted in Billy Gunn in the SummerSlam main event, because he's won the number one contendership. And I believe during this time, this is where Mick Foley came back, because it was Jesse Ventura as the special guest referee. I would have kept that the same. The only difference is, as I said, Triple H just replaced Triple H with Billy Gunn. It would have been pretty much fine, and then we would have probably headed towards Unforgiven. Now, during this time, I would have probably had, right now, because if I'm not mistaken, Mick Foley vacated the championship. Actually, tell a lie. You know what? We'll still do that, because Mick gets his championship reign and it becomes vacant. We then have the six-pack challenge. The difference here is I would have had Triple H still in, Big Show, Kane, Mankind, The Rock, and instead of the British Bulldog, as much as I could sit there and say he's a fellow countryman, he should be in the WWE, WWF Championship or WWE Championship, I feel as though right here, this was where the New Age Outlaws in the original timeline were returning. I would have fitted in Billy Gunn right there, right in there, and instead of Triple H, as much as I could sit there and say, oh, let him take over Triple H's reign. No, I still would have had Triple H in the run, but I would have just done it by just a whisk. Like Billy Gunn hits the famous on somebody, just as Triple H has got the pedigree, and Triple H got there just that little bit edge, just got that little half a second pin before Billy Gunn could earn that match, and it's like to win that match, and it would have sat there and had him sitting there thinking, I almost had that, and then sort of had him potentially rebelling against Triple H, heading into Rebellion, and probably started a feud with Triple H right now, which going back and forth, and eventually, they're literally beating each other up, and eventually, they end up with a steel cage match. Triple H gets the win in that one, escaping the cage. And then we sort of get to No Mercy. Now, I feel as though because Billy Gunn's lost that match at Rebellion, he needs to earn like another match per se. So, and it'd be like a number one contenders. So we'll have like a number one contenders, which is like Billy Gunn, The Rock, British Bulldog, and we'll make it a triple threat. Billy Gunn gets the win while Triple H defeats Stone Cold Steve Austin in the no holds barred match. So that goes forward, but then we get to Survivor Series, and we effectively have got right now Billy Gunn versus Triple H, because I believe this was meant to be the triple threat where the Big Show re-won the championship. And essentially what I would have done is I would have had Big Show be involved in this match, because I believe he was replacing Stone Cold Steve Austin because he'd been run over, if I'm not mistaken, I believe. But instead of Big Show getting the win, right, I would have had Big Show and Triple H somehow losing to Billy Gunn by an absolute chance, because originally it was The Rock here. But with Billy Gunn winning the number one contendership at the last event, he would have been set up here quite nicely. And I feel as though it would have been an absolute shock of him doing it, like sort of just as he, Triple H somehow, they're both working down Big Show. Big Show gets eventually pedigreed by Triple H, and as Triple H is thinking, he's got this in the bag, as he's leaning up, bam! In comes the Famouser, which he somehow manages to do it in a certain way where he famouses Triple H onto Big Show, bouncing him off, and for them pin the Big Show 1, 2, 3 to become WWF champion. And he's beside himself. And if I'm not mistaken, we're sitting there thinking, has this really just happened? He's really got himself into a main event picture. And this is where I feel as though it should be him immediately feuding with, immediately probably have Triple H coming after him. So he's fighting Triple H at Armageddon. Triple H is now saying, how dare you take that championship from me? You stole that from me. Even though, we were meant to be cohorts against the Big Show. You sucker punch me with the Famouser. And it's like, triple threat rules. Every man for himself. Sorry. Sorry that you sucked at it. So, your loss. And then we've then got a big solid feud between Triple H and Billy Gunn, which I would say going ahead probably have him going into Armageddon beating Triple H just about. Oh no, you know what? No. Instead of him beating Triple H here, I'll say Triple H robs Billy Gunn of this during this match. and he actually dropped the title to Triple H just by a whisker. And we head into, and as it decrees, he gets his rematch probably on Raw in the next night. He doesn't get the win. He gets robbed out of it. So then he's sitting there thinking, what do I do here? What do I do here? We then head into the 2000 Royal Rumble, because there's one feud I will not interrupt here, which is the infamous Triple H and Cactus Jack match. Ain't moving that at all. The only thing I would change here, potentially, is the winner of the Royal Rumble. I would switch it from The Rock to Billy Gunn. So then we've then got, instead of, The Rock and Big Show and everything, we'll have Billy Gunn getting the big win, probably over Big Show and or The Rock or something, and earning that win. We then head into No Way Out, where probably we're feuding with, because we'll probably put a bit of a similar dynamic of Big Show being a bit upset, probably do a bit like what he did with The Rock and everything, where his feet supposedly touched the ground first and everything, but it's like, nope, didn't happen. He ends up beating Big Show at No Way Out to secure his place at WrestleMania. And for No Way Out, Triple H gets his Hell in a Cell title versus career match with Cactus Jack in the Hell in a Cell. Now we then head into WrestleMania 2000, and I know that this is the big event the main event that most people weren't thrilled about. Some weren't, some enjoyed it, some didn't. Instead of it being the Fatal Four Corners, we'll just draw it down to Triple H versus Billy Gunn. And bear in mind that twice now, that when it comes to the title, Triple H has sort of had the better in one-on-one action. Billy Gunn had to he won it in a triple threat. So this is now the time for the badass Billy Gunn to finally fight back against Triple H, who has been sort of sitting there saying, you're beneath me. You're only here because you follow my coattails. You follow my leadership in DX. And in the end, we have it where Billy Gunn wins the WWF Championship at WrestleMania 2000. Chaotic a bit?
Well, I said reboot Billy Gunn's 1999. I didn't say give him a Goldberg push. Pretty, So, the hottest star in the WWF post Steve Austin getting hit by a car is Billy Gunn.
Yep, there you go.
So I was just doing a bit of research while you were talking, and it's actually Billy Gunn is back in the tag team division by Unforgiven, which is the pay-per-view after SummerSlam. So you really went for it with his main event arc. And by the end of your rebook, he's a two-time champion, and he's main evented WrestleMania versus
Triple H.
Versus Triple H. Because of your rebook, we didn't get McMahon versus Triple H. The McMahon Helmsley era has been lost in your rebook.
That's fine with me.
Also, so is the worst WrestleMania main event ever, the McMahon in every corner.
That's why I sort of thought to myself, penny in for a penny, in for a pound. Get rid of that McMahon.
Listen, Matt Burns, I'm not going to keep you in any suspense here, right? I'm going to give you 3 bangers, and I think I was going to go 5 until you put him in the main event of WrestleMania. I cannot believe you had him win the bloody Rumble. Like, let's try and keep a bit of realism. You know what I mean?
I tried.
Oh dear, I really enjoyed it, mate. I really enjoyed it. And I think if he'd won the title in that first year, 99, and then he cooled off a bit, and then maybe as we got towards the second half of 2000, he was back in the title picture, maybe a little bit more believable.
There's 2 things that this could have actually. There's another feud that it could have ended as well.
Okay.
Because bear in mind that in the 2000s, he ends up coming across a certain faction that you absolutely loved.
I do. The Right to Censor.
Yeah. Who ended up taking away his badass Billy Gunn name.
Yeah, he was no longer Mr. Ass after that, was he? He was the one Billy Gunn, which I genuinely think is a missed opportunity. The one Billy Gunn could have been so good.
He ended up using another name before the one. Yeah. Would you believe it?
I'm waiting.
He ended up. I'm just looking at it right now because he ended up potentially, just trying to find it now, Billy G.
Shorty G.
Billy G. And I think I think someone turned around and just went bit too close to Billy G, and he's like, nope, change it.
Right, Matt Burns, thank you very much for your reboot. Never easy to do, especially when the material is quite difficult as that one was. 99 into 2000, a very tumultuous time in the World Wrestling Federation.
As I said to you, there was two feuds. There was one feud I definitely wanted to keep on touch, and you know exactly which one it is.
Mick Foley, Triple H, and we'll get there eventually on the watch-alongs, Matt Burns, I promise. But for us tonight, Matt Burns, I think that's pretty much it. I know I want to tell everybody once again, it's free to do so. So please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video, share it with your friends wherever you enjoy your wrestling. We'll love you forever. We're trying our best here, and we want to really grow this channel. So any help is appreciated, 100%.
That it is. And we always recommend you check out your local wrestling because it's always good to go see the potential future stars of wrestling. Because believe me, we've suddenly been wrestling. Well, I've been wrestling on the independent circuit myself for a good number of years, and I've suddenly come across some grizzled young veterans. Gabriel Kidd as well. Gabe Kidd.
You know what I was thinking the other day? Like legit, he's a huge star in Japan now. Into Gabe Kidd, obviously had a moment in AEW, and is the current. Is he the IWGP Global Heavyweight Champion?
He is the second tier title champion. Yeah.
Yeah. You never know where you're going to see these guys, because I wrestled Gabe Kidd. I'm dropping a name there. I wrestled Gabe Kidd in Stoke-on-Trent 5-6 years ago, maybe a bit longer. So yeah, there you go. You never know who you're going to see. So yeah, please support your local wrestling. Also support us. You can visit our website, theburningtruthuk.com, for all our latest videos, blogs, and merchandise. And Matt Burns, there's one more thing that you always say, and I can't wait to hear you say it tonight.
Please keep the fire still burning and the passion ever growing. But most importantly, please DFTBA. And in case you don't know what it means, don't forget to be awesome!
Excelsior!